And then after the war, which we won it big. Without us, right now you'd all be speaking German and a little Japanese, perhaps. After the war, we gave Greenland back to Denmark. How stupid were we to do that? But we did it. But we gave it back. But how ungrateful are they now? We want strong allies, not seriously weakened ones. We want Europe to be strong. Ultimately, these are matters of national security, and perhaps no current issue makes the situation more clear than what's currently going on with Greenland. Would you like me to say a few words of Greenland? I was going to leave it out of the speech, but I think I would have been reviewed very negatively. I have tremendous respect for both the people of Greenland and the people of Denmark, tremendous respect. But every NATO ally has an obligation to be able to defend their own territory. And the fact is, no nation or group of nations is in any position to be able to secure Greenland other than the United States. We're a great power, much greater than people even understand. I think they found that out 2 weeks ago in Venezuela. We saw this in World War II, when Denmark fell to Germany after just 6 hours of fighting, and was totally unable to defend either itself or Greenland. So the United States was then compelled, we did it, we felt an obligation to do it, to send our own forces to hold the Greenland territory, and hold it we did at great cost and expense. They didn't have a chance of getting on it, and they tried. Denmark knows that. We literally set up bases on Greenland for Denmark. We fought for Denmark. We weren't fighting for anyone else. We were fighting to save it for Denmark. Big, beautiful piece of ice. It's hard to call it land. It's a big piece of ice. But we saved Greenland and successfully prevented our enemies from gaining a foothold in our hemisphere. So we did it for ourselves also. And then after the war, which we won it big. Without us, right now you'd all be speaking German and a little Japanese, perhaps. After the war, we gave Greenland back to Denmark. How stupid were we to do that? But we did it. But we gave it back. But how ungrateful are they now? So now our country and the world face much greater risks than it did ever before because of missiles, because of nuclear, because of weapons of warfare that I can't even talk about. 2 weeks ago, they saw weapons that nobody ever heard of. They weren't able to fire one shot at us. They said, what happened? Everything was discombobulated. They said, we've got them in our sights. Press the trigger, and nothing happened. No anti-aircraft missiles went up. There was one that went up about 30 feet and crashed down right next to the people that sent it. They said, what the hell is going on? Those defensive systems were made by Russia and by China. So they're going to go back to the drawing boards, I guess. Greenland is a vast, almost entirely uninhabited and undeveloped territory that's sitting undefended in a key strategic location between the United States, Russia, and China. That's exactly where it is, right smack in the middle. It is therefore a core national security interest of the United States of America. And it's the United States alone that can protect this giant mass of land, great vast wealth, great vast lands all over the world. They went in reverse. They're stuck back where they started. That happens too. But this would not be a threat to NATO. This would greatly enhance the security of the entire alliance, the NATO alliance. The United States is treated very unfairly by NATO. I want to tell you that. And when you think about it, nobody can dispute it. We give so much and we get so little in return. And I've been a critic of NATO for many years. And yet I've done more to help NATO than any other president by far, than any other person. You wouldn't have NATO if I didn't get involved in my first term.
Mr. President, the Danish foreign minister rejected your call to negotiate on Greenland. What will those...
I didn't call him.
No, sorry. the Danish foreign minister rejected what you said in your speech, essentially saying that this is not something that they are willing to discuss.
Well, they didn't tell me that, so when they tell me, because I don't like getting it secondhand, if he wants to tell me, he'll tell me that to my face. We're having tremendous meetings with heads of state, with people of very big consequence having to do with war and peace, which is why we're here. And I just want to thank the Secretary General for being with us. We have a few things to discuss. We'll be talking about Greenland. I imagine it may come up in our discussion. And but I think the trip has been amazing so far. It's been amazing. As you know, we're staying, and tomorrow we're doing something else having to do with the Board of Peace. We're getting tremendous acceptance of that.
Basically getting the Europeans and Canada to really step up, and that led to the enormous success we had in The Hague with the 5%, which is crucial to defend ourselves and to also equalize with what the US is paying. This was a problem already there since Eisenhower. I always tell the Europeans, you're completely committed to NATO, but there is also that one irritant, and it is this factor, that the Europeans were not paying the same as the US was paying. And we solved it, and this is crucial also because we need the money to protect ourselves. There's one thing I heard you say yesterday and today, you were not absolutely sure that the Europeans would come to the rescue of the US if you will be attacked. Let me tell you, they will. And they did in Afghanistan, as you know, for every American who paid the ultimate, for every 2 Americans who paid the ultimate price, there was 1 soldier from another NATO country who did not come back to his family. From the Netherlands, from Denmark, particularly from other countries. So you can be assured, absolutely, if ever the US will be under attack, your allies will be with you. Absolutely, there's an absolute guarantee. And under your leadership, this alliance is stronger than ever.
Thank you very much. It's a great compliment. Any questions?
Mr. President, the Danish foreign minister rejected your call to negotiate on Greenland. What will those...
I didn't call him.
No, sorry. The Danish foreign minister rejected what you said in your speech, essentially saying that this is not something that they are willing to discuss. So what will those negotiations
Well, they
look
didn't
like?
tell me that, so when they tell me, because I don't like getting it secondhand, if he wants to tell me, he'll tell me that to my face.
And when will you be discussing this?
I have no idea.
Mr. President, when you said you would remember if Denmark did not agree to a deal on Greenland, what did you mean? What are the consequences?
You'll have to figure that out for yourself. You're a smart guy.
Mr. President, do you see a price for Greenland that's reasonable?
I could see that, yeah. But there's a bigger price, and that's the price of safety and security and national security and international security having to do with many of your countries. Mm-hmm. That's really the price, and that's the big price. And as you know, we're doing the Golden Dome. It's going to be very expensive. And it's better if we have Greenland than it is without. It's going to be safer, it's going to be stronger, it's going to be better for Europe, and it's going to be better for us. And so we'll see what happens. Well, I hope that that's true. I mean, he's a good man. He's never lied to me before. You know, I just, you know, when I see what's happening with Greenland, I wonder, because I want Greenland for security. I don't want it for anything else. Last week, the Navy announced a brand new class of frigate, and they're going to be working with the South Korean company. Hanwha, a good company, recently agreed to invest $5 billion in shipyard. We're opening up the Philadelphia shipyard, once a great yard. Now it was a long time ago decommissioned, but now it's reopening. Working with the Navy and working with private companies. We're at least 15 years ahead of any other competitor. China, Russia, nobody can come close. Nobody competes with us on submarines. So, wow, it's beautiful. It's the first renderings of what we're doing. So I want to wish everybody a big hello and Merry Christmas and welcome to Mar-a-Lago for this exciting announcement of the new Golden Fleet. We're calling it the Golden Fleet that we're building for the United States Navy. As you know, we're desperately in need of ships. Our ships some of them have gotten old and tired and obsolete, and we're going to go the exact opposite direction. We're delighted to be joined by Secretary of War Pete Hegseth, who's doing a fantastic job, and Secretary of the Navy, John Phelan. Marco Rubio is here, who gave a great few words toward the end of last week. He spoke for a couple of hours on what a good job we're doing, which is true. As Commander-in-Chief, it's my great honor to announce that I have approved a plan for the Navy to begin the construction of two brand new, very large, the largest we've ever built, battleships. You know, you used to build the Iowa, the Missouri, the Wisconsin, the Alabama, many others. We had big battleships. These are bigger, but they will have 100 times the, they'll be 100 times the force, the power, and there's never been anything like these ships. These have been under design consideration for a long time, and it started with me in my first term, because I said, why aren't we doing battleships like we used to? And these are the best in the world. They'll be the fastest, the biggest, and by far 100 times more powerful than any battleship ever built. So if you look at the Iowa, the Missouri, Wisconsin, Alabama, and others, but they were similar in size, some a little bit bigger than the others, but if you take the biggest one, it's 100 times more powerful. They're longer by a little bit, but and they're bigger ships, but they hold much more. They use the word lethality. Battleships are the largest, sturdiest, and most heavily armed vessel built specifically for naval combat. While America has built many new warships over the years, they've tended to be smaller and much smaller, and not conducive to where we are and where we're going, and peace through strength. But including, we've been building aircraft carriers. We're going to be upping that also. We're going to be going to a superior aircraft. We have the Ford class. We're going to be upping that to a different class of aircraft carrier. And we haven't built a battleship since 1994. These cutting-edge vessels will be some of the most lethal surface warfare ships. They will be actually the most ever built other than our submarines. We have submarines which will have, in many ways, even more lethality, and we have many of them under construction. Each one of these will be the largest battleship in the history of our country, the largest battleship in the history of the world ever built. And again, it's 100 times more powerful than the previous Iowa class. We envision that these ships will be the first of a whole new class of battleships to be produced in the years to come. From Theodore Roosevelt, the Great White Fleet, you remember that, the Great White Fleet, to the legendary USS Missouri, whose massive guns helped win World War II. America's battleships have always been unmistakable symbols of national power. We stopped making them for whatever reason, I don't know. Once completed, these new 30 to 40,000 ton plus vessels will be the flagships of the American naval fleet, and there has never been anything built like them. And I just want to, be very clear that we're building them here. We're working with others, but we're building them here. We have great Navy yards. We'll be negotiating with some of the companies that are running those yards, taking over the yards. We used to build a ship a day during World War II. Now we don't do ships very much anymore. We do military ships, we do submarines. By the way, we're 15 to 20 years advanced in our submarines over anybody else. That was one of the things that I did in my first term. We make the best submarines by far in the world. We're at least 15 years advanced ahead of anybody else in submarine development. Most powerful, that's right, the most powerful weapon anywhere in the world, undetectable. So the battleships are going to be armed just in terms of guns and missiles at the highest level. They'll also have hypersonic weapons, many hypersonic weapons, state-of-the-art electric rail guns, and even the high-powered lasers that you've been starting to read about. We have lasers where you aim the laser at a target, it just wipes it out. We're going to have, there'll be the most sophisticated lasers in the world, and the most sophisticated laser in the world will be on the battleships that we're building. We have many countries, allies, that are wanting to buy. We make the greatest equipment in the world, by far. Nobody's even close, but they don't produce them fast enough. So we're going to be meeting with them to talk about the production schedules. We're going to have strong production schedules. And the only way they're going to be able to do that is to build new plants. Even with the F-35, we have many people want the F-35 fighter jet, and it takes too long to deliver them to allies or to ourselves. It takes too long. The only way they're going to be able to deliver them is if they build new plants. They don't want to build new plants because that's expensive. So we're going to be discussing production schedules. We're going to be discussing CapEx spending, the pay to executives where they're making $45 and $50 million a year and not being able to build quickly. They're going to make that kind of money. They have to build quickly. Again, we make the best equipment in the world, but they don't make them fast enough. Last week, the Navy announced a brand new class of frigate, and they're going to be working with the South Korean company. Hanwha, a good company, recently agreed to invest $5 billion in Philadelphia Naval Shipyard. We're opening up the Philadelphia Shipyard, once a great yard. Now it was a long time ago decommissioned, but now it's reopening. Working with the Navy and working with private companies. The record-setting defense bill I signed last week authorized $26 billion to build new ships, including destroyers and various others. We already have a lot of submarines, as you know, under construction. We're building a lot of submarines. I tell you, to be exact, we have right now 15 submarines under construction or ready to start. And we have, again, the greatest submarine in the world with our technology, like they talk about chips. Well, I would say submarines are a bigger deal than chips. We're at least 15 years ahead of any other competitor. China, Russia, nobody can come close. We're also building right now 3 large aircraft carriers in addition to the ones we have. And we have, actually, interestingly, we have a lot of submarines. How many submarines do we have now altogether? Approximately. We have over 30. But these are the super duper subs, and there's nothing like them. So we're going to be doing from 12 to 15 brand new submarines. We have a couple of other things going on. We'll be building other elements of Navy. We'll be fixing up headquarters. We'll be fixing up places for our great sailors to live. And we're going to be working very hard with companies, but we're also going to be penalizing companies that aren't doing a good job. Nobody competes with us on submarines. So